Hello, lovely people. Welcome to my channel. It's Hila here, Saturday Night Stitch, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video is basically a chatty, slightly long video, I predict, because I just have so much to talk about because I suddenly blinked and realized that it's been nearly 3 weeks since I got back from holiday and quite a long time since I've actually posted anything because there's just been so much going on. So yeah, get ready for a long chatty video. Grab your cup of tea, wine, or whatever it is that you like to drink on a Friday, because I'm hoping to post this today. It's Friday, and so I'm recording it now, and I should be posting this today before I go do the school run. But I do have some fabrics to show you that I actually picked up during my epic summer holiday over in Europe, as well as a couple of magazines, as well as some thoughts that have been formulating a lot after spending so much time in Italy, being surrounded by Italian style and Italian women. And we're in the south of Italy, which was the less touristy area. In terms of there weren't as many Europeans around, so not many French or Germans or anything like that. In compared to the Lake District, normally we go to the Italian lakes, but this time we went all the way down to the south of Italy, so we're surrounded by a lot of Italians to the extent where I very rarely heard English or saw English anywhere else, or even French. It was just purely Italian. So I have some things to share in terms of where my particular sartorial, how I'm going to be putting myself together, how I'm going to be dressing. And of course, that impacts my sewing and my sewing plans and fabrics that I get. So a lot of fun. So as I said, a very long video. Okay, so let's start off with the magazines. So if you weren't following over on Hila at Home, I did vlog the trip. I had such a fantastic time. It was really, I feel like it's one of those holidays that an epic family holiday that we will always remember, and at least we've got the vlog format as well to be able to watch it back. And it was really, really quite wonderful. So we drove through France, spent some time in Spain, headed over to Italy, and we spent most of the majority of our time in Italy. Whilst we were in Italy, I picked up patrones whilst we were in Spain. So I picked this up on Los Ramblas, which is the big street that is in Barcelona. So we'd come from seeing some of the Gaudi buildings, and as we were walking past, there was I think they call them a tabaki, where they sell the newsstand, and all they have is just magazines. And they happened to have the patrones, and so I got the patrones over here. I have already done the preview for this patrones, and I'll link the video over here. And yeah, I do have the digital patterns, but I can never resist the physical magazine itself when I do see it. And then when we're in Italy, on our way back, we passed through Bologna, and we stopped at a big mall in Bologna because my husband fell in love with Italian coffee, and he wanted to get the Italian espresso coffee maker. And so we were looking for a shop called Biete, which the Italians that we made friends with at our campsite had said if we wanted to make the best Italian coffees, we had to get this Biete espresso makers. So we were looking for that, and we found one in Bologna. And at the place that we stopped by in Bologna, they had a tabaki, and I was able to get La Mia Boutique, which is an Italian sewing magazine. And I'll do a separate browse through for this later on because it does have some really great styles, particularly with Italian style, which is fitting in with a lot of the stuff that I've been thinking about regarding how to put myself together. Okay, so we'll move on to the fabrics now because there's a lot to do. So I'm going to start off with the fabric that I bought in Barcelona in Spain, and there's a little bit of a story behind this, right? So we'd been walking around, and we'd been to Park Güell and La Sagrada Familia and what have you. And after we'd rested, having a meal at a restaurant, I think it was called Konig Restaurant, and we had tapas there. It was really, really gorgeous. And there was free Wi-Fi because my data was very limited when we were over there. And we had free Wi-Fi in the restaurant. And I thought, oh, hang on, let me just check if there are any fabric shops nearby. And it happened that within a 10-minute walk, there was a fabric shop that was near the restaurant that we were eating at. And so I said to the kids, do you mind if we just go by this fabric shop before we head back to the train station. And and so they agreed, and we walked into this fabric shop, right? And I speak a smattering of Spanish. I can kind of get by in Spanish. And when I struggle, if somebody responds to me back in Spanish and it's too fast, I do my standard, no habla español. And I said it to this gentleman who was in this thing because he started talking back to me in rapid Spanish. And I said, no habla español. And the atmosphere went completely cold, and he gesticulated with his hands and he said, I do not speak Spanish. I speak Catalonian. And I felt so bad and I felt so terrible. And I was like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I did not know that. I'm just an ignorant person from England. I had no idea that we're in Catalonia and this is Catalonian. It's not Spanish. Because it turns out that the Catalonia or Catalonian dialect is kind of a bit different. And there's a certain national pride in the fact that they speak Catalonian and they don't consider it Spanish. So I, prostrated myself and said I was really very sorry. And then I went and I bought loads of fabrics, and I was very complimentary of the lovely fabrics that they had. And the place was incredible. They just had so many beautiful fabrics. Moral of the story is, if you ever find yourself shopping for fabric in Barcelona, do not make the same mistake that I did of assuming that it is Spanish that is spoken there. Just go with Catalonia because it's in the region of Catalonia. Anyway, so moving on. They had such beautiful fabrics. Let me just grab. Okay, so the place was called Dona Textiles in Barcelona. And they had a really great range of linens. It was so hard for me to pick some. We had a train to catch, so I was quite limited in how much time I had in the shop. But I picked out a linen in this wonderful magenta fuchsia color. I got 4 meters of it. And compared to English prices, the prices, they were so reasonable. And as you can see, this is so my colors. And they had all these beautiful electric blues and pinks, and it was so beautiful. So I got the linen, right? I got 4 meters, so I'll be able to do a lot of stuff with it. And they also had so many gorgeous shirting cottons. I wish I had more time and had more space, but because we were traveling by car, I was very limited to how much fabric I could buy. So I had to be very, very ruthless, very precise about what to get. And so I got this wonderful shirting cotton, which is in a really lovely, delicate blue color. And the cotton is like it's so pretty. It's very hard to show it here, particularly since I'm using my phone, but it's like a really nice one. And by the time that I was looking around at the shirting cottons, the shop gentleman who had been helping me, he had forgiven me for my faux pas, for my cultural faux pas. And as we were talking and I was, sort of saying about how these were wonderful fabrics and I was speaking, he was like, oh, yeah, okay, no, these ones are the ones that we use here and these ones are really good. And so he gave me some pointers. And so I selected this based on his recommendation. But yeah, so this is going to be a shirt for my husband. Because I love making shirts for my husband. It's like, it's so awesome because he actually let me buy more stuff than we could fit into the car, and he was like, don't worry, we'll get it to fit somehow. So I was like, oh, bless, I'll also make you something. So these are the two that I bought in Barcelona. The other place that we bought from was in France. We stopped by a place to pick up some supplies, and it was a Carrefour. It's the big supermarkets over there. And the Carrefour was in the same industrial park, I want to say, with a bakery, a French bakery, a French boulangerie, and we love baguettes. So we decided to go there to get the baguettes. And from them, we got like 6 baguettes because we love them. We just eat them. And right next to the boulangerie was a fabric shop. And I just say to the guys, come on, we can't not, it's just turned up. I wasn't actually looking for a fabric shop, but it was right there. And so we went in and again, they had really beautiful, gorgeous fabrics. But again, I was limited by space because we were in the car and it's full of camping stuff as well and all of that. So I ended up getting what I thought was the unique stuff. And that stuff, So we ended up using the vacuum bags that I had gotten for the bedding because this was really fluffy and taking up a lot of space. So on the way back, we had to vacuum pack it so that it packs really nice and flat. So you can compare. Yeah. So that's what we have. So Artie and Juno, my daughters, the twins, they helped to pick these because they were just so gorgeous. So it's a plush fleece, but it's double-sided, and I haven't seen anything like that here in England. So as you can see, it's got cute, dainty little spots on one side, and then it's got these. So these ones are to make some sort of house coat for Artie and Juno. So I think I can't remember who chose which one. One of them was Artie, one of them was Juno. But as you can see, so and then it's got this cute on the side. So we're going to do something that's quite reversible. And then for me, I've made some Love Notions composed robes for the kids, which they absolutely love, and I've made them in plush, in the plushy fabric. And I don't have one. I have a toweling robe, which is nearly 14 or 15 years old. So it's really quite narky. It's really nasty. It's purple. It was an IKEA buy. And so I need one that's quite cozy and cuddly. And I chose for myself this one. Hang on. And I got this one because it reminded me of Cat Kidston-esque style. See, it's got the cherries on the polka dots, and on the other side it's just pink and white. So this is going to make a composed robe for me, and I'm going to put a hoodie on it, and I'll have something to wear that's really lovely and cozy as we head over into autumn and winter. And those were just so well priced, so that was really, really fabulous. Those were the finds that I had. Our time in Rome, we just had so much stuff to do and we were so tired. Rome was one of the places where we had so many things to do. I just didn't even have time to find the fabric shops. But on our last day in Rome, when I was looking up the fabric shops, they were all in a particularly different sector that would have required a massive detour for us to go there. So I just thought, you know what, it's okay. I've got the fabrics, because by this point we'd already bought the fabrics in France and we'd already bought the fabrics in Spain. And I just told myself at some other point I will go back to Rome, because we love going to Italy. It's kind of like a regular thing for us. I will make sure to get something when we are there. So yeah, so those are the fabrics that I got. And I must say, I had such a great time being in Italy, particularly in Italy, because I was just looking at all of the fashion and all of the style and what the people were wearing. And so for this particular section of the video, I just wanted to talk very briefly about some of the things that I learned about Italian style that I want to start embracing, that I want to start doing, because the more time that I was spending amongst the Italians and the Italian women, particularly in the south of Italy where we were in Foggia, which is near Gargano National Park, place called Vieste. The campsite that we were at, it had a lot of Italian families, and you developed a real good sense of community, because most of them were staying 7 to 10 days, just as long as us. So by the end, we'd actually sort of started making some acquaintances and friends and sort of chatting about stuff. And so I had the privilege of actually being able to chat with some of the Italian women, and just, I was able to frankly speak and just say, so what is it about the Italian style, because I was just so impressed by it. Everywhere I was looking, I was just seeing the effortlessness of how stylish and chic they looked. And I was like, I want some of that. I would love to have some of that. There was just something about it. And so I got to asking and, sort of pairing together with some of my own observations from what I'd seen. So in terms of my own observations, I'd noticed that they tended to be very simple and elegant styles, so very simple, not too outlandish, not too whatever, just simple and elegant. And another thing that I noticed very much, and this was across all of Italy, all of the places that we've been to, even when we've been to Milan before, and this time even when we were in Florence or in Rome or whatever. And it's quite easy to tell the difference between the tourists and the actual Italian people, because tourists, they tend to dress a certain way. It's very clear who's a tourist and who isn't. And I was particularly looking at the Italians themselves. And I found that they were fit is very important. No matter what size, body shape, etc., they always wear something that fits them. And that's for both men and women. That was something that I noticed straight away. The men, they wear these tailored shirts. No matter what it is, they're wearing tailored shirts, which, even my husband noticed. He was like, oh, wow, everybody's wearing tailored shirts. The shirts fit really good. And I was like, yeah, right. And even the T-shirts, the T-shirts, the fit is always spot on with the shoulders. And so that was something that I had noticed. And when I was chatting with these, it was a really lovely couple, and they had a baby as well. And they were from another part of Italy, I think close to Naples is what they said. And so they were letting me hold the baby. So it was so nice. I was holding a little bambina. It was so cute. And so when we were talking, and I was saying, yes, I've noticed that fit seems to be very important. They were like, yeah, of course, you don't wear clothes that don't fit you, and they said, it's fare bella figura. And fare bella figura, as I've learned about it, and I asked, it just basically means that it's this concept that they have that's espoused culturally about putting your best foot forward, just always creating a good first impression. And when you leave your home, you never know what is going to happen. So always be prepared to have a good first impression, regardless of what may happen. And I thought that is really fabulous. And so because of that, right, they emphasize quality over quantity, and with an emphasis on basics, high quality basics, right? And they were telling me that they would rather save money to get like a cashmere wool coat in a neutral color that will last for a long time, rather than having loads of stuff. And I was just like, oh, wow, that does make a lot of sense. And fabrics, they, tend to focus on a lot more of the natural fabrics, the silks, the linens, the cottons. And there was a lot of really lovely linen stuff that I was seeing, particularly in those, the hotter areas that we were in. So simple, elegant, quality over quantity, focusing on basics, and the fit, getting the fit right. So with the fit, it's something that I can easily do because of my sewing, I'm also quite good at making sure that things fit me, right? I'm kind of working towards quality over quantity now. I think when I started sewing, it was more about just sew. Whereas now I'm a little bit more considered, a little bit more focused, and a little bit more intentional in what I sew. And so I was like, oh, okay. And then the other thing that she also mentioned was the fact that undergarments are very, for them, it's just a thing that you just, you have to have the right sort of undergarments for the different clothes. And that was something that I had actually also noticed amongst the Italian women, was that, there wasn't any real, when you see sort of like bra straps cutting in on there, or any visible panty lines or anything like that. Because then I started playing a game with myself where I was like, come on, we gotta spot something here that's up. And once she said that, it sort of clicked to me, because I was like, okay. So also wearing slips to make a dress hang properly, so that things are not too too body, cellulite. When somebody's wearing something that is so tight, you can see all of the dimples of the cellulite. She was like, no, that's not something that we generally do. And I was like, oh, okay. So undergarments. So I've been looking at my undergarment situation and trying to make sure that I've got the right sorts of undergarments. The other thing that she also mentioned, aside from the fit of the clothes and the undergarments, which of course go hand in hand, because if you want your clothes to fit you well, you need to have the foundational support quite well, is that she also mentioned that because they do quality over quantity, combined with this, this cultural ethos of fare bella figura, where you present your best self forward and you make yourself look the best that you can. Clothes are neat and tidy, and it's not about necessarily having money or wearing expensive things or whatever. It's press your shirt, make sure the shirt fits, mend it if there's a button missing, and things like that. They also don't have this concept of saving your best clothes for special occasions. And for me, that was like quite mind blowing, because I very much still hold on to the mentality that I had as a kid, which was you had Sunday best. You had your special clothes that you only wore for special occasions, and you didn't. And I still do that. And I can get quite precious about some of the garments that I've made that, no, I can only wear them if I'm having a special outing, but not for everyday thing. And so she was just like, yeah, when you wear your stuff, the stuff that makes you feel great, the stuff that's really beautiful and sits on you well, you wear it because you know to look after it, because they're investment pieces and they're made of high quality stuff. And so you look after it. And so it's a virtuous cycle, and it really, I'm so blown away by this. And so those are some of the elements that I've been trying to implement. So from a day-to-day basis, right? So there's some, I've been doing that where I've been like, oh, no, this is my special shirt. I'm like, no, I'm going to wear the special shirt. Yes, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to, but you know what? I'm going to dress up for me. I'm going to, dress up for me and fare bella figura. Even if I'm running an errand, just put on the favorite thing that I like to wear. And so that was that was, I think, one of the most transformational things for me on this holiday, shall I say, wherein I'm realizing that I was being, too precious about some of the garments that I have made, because I'm like, this can only be worn in a special thing, but I'm being more forthright about actually wearing them, especially since I came. And it's something that I want to carry through this whole fare bella figura concept. I really, really love it, because I think the more that you practice it, it can only create a virtuous cycle wherein your sartorial choices become more refined, more intentional, and you look after the things a lot better, I think, as well. But anyway, the final thing that she also said, which she was like, because I was like, well, but surely with the fare bella figura thing, right? And I was saying to her, but surely you can't, you can't always dress your best all the time. What if you just have to go get the bread, the pane or something like that? Or you have to take the bins out. And she said, well, no, that's where your sunglasses and your bag come in handy. And I said, what? And then she was saying that one of the things that they have is you always have to have sunglasses, really great sunglasses, really wonderful sunglasses that suit your face shape, and a really nice bag. And of course, we know Italian bags, Italian designer bags, and Italian leather. It's a thing. And I think that's why they have such a great industry for the Italian bags and the sunglasses, because I think I read somewhere that something like 45% of all sunglasses are made in Italy, because they've got a really huge industry around sunglasses. And for sure, that was one of the other things that I noticed when I was doing my sociological, investigations, as I was watching the Italian women wherever I was. A lot of them would have really nice sunglasses and nice bags that they were holding. And so she was like, yeah, you just pop on the nice sunglasses and the bag. And occasionally, if you've got a hat that suits you, you pop on the hat and you go and you run your errand and you're looking fabulous. And I just thought, So anyway, I'm on the lookout now for some nice sunglasses, because the sunglasses that I carry with me on holiday, they're battered. I've had them for years and I'm just sort of like, it doesn't matter. So anyway, so that's another thing that came there. So yeah, so let's see. So fare bella figura basically means, putting your best foot forward, always being prepared to make a good impression, because you never know what is going to happen or who you're going to meet out there, right? Simple but elegant, focus on basics, whereby quality is more important than quantity. So I think that for me, in terms of sewing, that's going to translate into buying fabrics that I will have to spend a bit more money, but getting good quality fabrics to work with. Also basics. I've been quite weak on basics because I love dresses so much, so I tend to make a lot of dresses. But I can see the beauty of having basics, trousers, skirts, blouses, and just nice blazers, so that I can have more mix and match stuff. So we're going to be seeing a lot more separates from me, I think. I think I'm going to be doing a lot more sewing up of separates, and sorting out my foundational garment situation. So no longer just buying the cheapest Marks and Spencer's stuff, I guess. Actually trying to make sure that I get the proper things. And also just trying to always dress to put my best foot forward, and not to be too precious about some of the things that I have made, because life is short where it's going. So anyway, I feel like that was so mind-blowing for me, that learning about that. And so I came back really thinking about all of this stuff, and moving forward. So it means that a lot of my fabric stash over there, I need to basically I need to be ruthless, cut the cord. So I'd separated out the fabrics after I had my colors done. And I'd separated out the ones that don't suit me just based on the colors and what have you. But I need to be more truthful when I look at some of the patterns of the fabrics, the types of fabrics that I got, that, maybe this doesn't suit where I am now, because a lot of them, I bought them about 7 or 8 years ago. And if you look at pictures of me from 7 or 8 years ago, I've gone through an evolution, a process of sorts, to be where I am now, where I'm a lot happier, coming into myself more, being more comfortable and confident in myself. So things are a little bit different, and some of them don't work. And I just have to accept that. And even though I've spent money on them, it's okay. I'm just going to donate them, and somebody else is going to be able to find them, get excited, giddy, and make something that will really suit them. So that's going to be about, I reckon, 50 to 60% of my fabric stash that I have to do that with. And it also means that in terms of fit, I'm probably going to work a little bit more towards elevating my fitting in the sewing process, just to try and get it a little bit more great, especially say for my husband's with his shirts. I'm going to try and do more tailored silhouette for his shirts, because he was also looking at the Italian men's style, and he was like, yeah, I think I'd like some of that, babe. And I was like, yeah, sure, honey, we'll see what we can do for you. So yeah, so that's been me. And when we got back, so the reason why it's actually taken me long to get back to actually recording is because when we got back, because we'd been away for such a long time, spiders had taken over most of the house. It was just really it was really quite frustrating, actually. On the one hand, it had like this really fantastic holiday, life-changing, that I loved so much that when I came back, I didn't want to come back, which has never happened before. Usually all of my holidays make me look forward to coming back home, because I'm like, oh, I can be in the comforts of home. But living Italy this time around, it was, I really felt like my heart was being wrenched away, because the food was so delicious, the gelatos were so delicious, the weather was beautiful. We didn't see a cloud in the sky. It never rained at all, and all of that. And then we came back home, and there were spiders everywhere. And so then I started having to clean the house, and that led to a massive decluttering session, because, it started off with the clothes, because I was thinking about, oh, I have some clothes that don't actually suit me that as much as I like, and I need to get, and then I ended up doing a whole house declutter. And when you get carried away to the point where even your junk drawer, the junk drawer that you haven't touched for 12 years, you feel like you're going to attack it. And it takes you 2 days to declutter a drawer that small, but because you've been shoving things in it. But it was very, very satisfying to do this massive house declutter. I filled our car And I did about 7 to 8 trips. And our car is not a dinky little car. It's a 7-seater van with space for tents and camping kitchen. And I was filling that up with stuff and taking it to the charity place to donate in the household recycling center, because I had all these broken ironing boards and broken mops and all these things that I was hanging on to because I thought I was going to fix it and I was going to mend it, or old coats that I haven't worn in over a decade, but I was like, oh, I'm going to be able to widen it and get it to fit, and yeah, so I just let it go, and it's been so wonderful. So the house is now finally under control. And it's breathing so much easier. You feel the energy flowing through easier because there isn't unnecessary clutter. So that's been really wonderful. And I finished that off a couple of days ago now. So I've just been really just enjoying it, just having that really nice, clean feeling, that feeling of a house that feels like it's saying, thank you for removing all the unnecessary stuff. So now the only place that's left that hasn't yet been touched is here, my sewing room. And that's going to be the area that I will be working in during the spare time, sorting out the fabrics, getting them out of the way. And I'm so excited about it, actually. I'm really, really excited to enter this season of my life, of my sewing life as well, wherein I'm just, I'm taking things to another level. And I think it's quite exciting. So anyway, so that's been me for now. And oh yeah, I managed to get 2 more vintage sewing machines that have been on my list of sewing machines that I would love to have in my collection. A beautiful, sexy little Bernina Minimatic. And I finally managed to get myself a Faf 30 with the black and gold cast iron thing, and it's in a beautiful case, and I'm currently restoring that as well. And so I'm so excited, and I'll definitely show those because I'm so happy about those. Basically, when I started collecting vintage sewing machines, I made a list of the sewing machines that I would want, and those were the 2 outstanding on there. And so I've got them now, and I'm so happy about it. So that's something else that has been going on with me, as well as my 3rd son started high school in September, and I can't believe it. And my oldest son finished his A-levels and is currently looking for a job and what have you. And so quite a big transition because we now have fewer primary school kids than before. And yeah, so all a lot of really, really fantastic stuff happening, a lot of changes, good changes. I think change is good, it's inevitable, but I think it's always good at the end of the day. And I hope that you guys also had a lovely, lovely summer, and that you enjoyed time with your families and with your friends, and that, that it was wonderful as well. And in fact, today it's the autumn equinox, would you believe it? So it's technically speaking the beginning of the autumn, and I have to start with autumn sewing at some point, which will come very soon. I hope. Anyway, so until I see you next time, lovelies, thank you so much if you've watched until the end. I really, really do appreciate you. It's always such a pleasure to read your comments and to keep in touch and hear what's going on, particularly with sewing, because sewing is such a wonderful, joyous thing. And whenever I bumped into anybody who also did sewing on my travels, it was just a wonderful thing to bond over vintage sewing machines and over sewing patterns and things like that, which happened, and it was just really, really wonderful. And I'm so grateful for this craft. It's such a wonderful way to be able to bring your creativity into the world and allow your creative juices to kind of like flow. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. I've got so many unedited videos that are just waiting to get stitched up together and then put out. I've got some sewing tutorials for things that I put together, and some sewing tools videos, and all of that sort of fun stuff, which should be more consistent now that my house has been sorted, my routines have been sorted, and everything is back to a nice flowing This is the word that I like now. Flowing. And so until I see you next time, lovelies, happy sewing. Bye. And also have a great weekend because it's Friday. And do something to celebrate the autumn equinox, the vernal equinox. Just do something. Maybe make yourself a pumpkin latte or something like that. For us, tomorrow we're setting up the fire, our wood burning stove, and we can start doing the fire because it's technically speaking autumn now. All right. Until next time. Bye.